Hey folks, how's it going? This is just a quick tutorial of the monthly planner and calorie worksheet that I want you to use for the month of December. So I'm going to be making a separate video of the calorie worksheet. I'm going to make it available on a separate file. You'll see in the new year it'll be kind of a nice handy document for us to use quite regularly. But for the month of December, this kind of goes along with the Christmas period and all the busyness and anxiety inducing things that come with it. So I wanted you to use this for the month just to kind of get a grasp of your events, what you're doing, um, how you're gonna like organize the month in a way. Okay, so first things first, one important thing that I want you to do straight away when you download the file itself, you'll see it's a Google document. I'll make it available. You'll be brought to this kind of main worksheet here, and you can see here up saying main. What I want you to make sure is that you don't actually use this main sheet. What I would like you to do, you can see up here, you can see my mouse. I'm up here at file on the top left hand corner. I'm just going to click file and I'm going to press make a copy. So super important because as long as you make a copy, you can enter in all your own details and use it for yourself, and it'll be saved on your computer. If you start editing the main one, it's just everyone's is going to change. So make sure that you're downloading your own copy of it, so then you can go and make all the changes you need to, all your kind of personal changes. Okay, so just say like your name, monthly planner, calorie cycling, blah blah blah, and save it into a file where you're going to find it easy enough. If you download the Google Sheets app, you'll have this handy on your phone for kind of ease of use throughout the day, or if you already use something like Google Sheets, just have it somewhere that's going to be handy for you to see. Okay, so I'd press OK if I wanted to save, but from here, I'm obviously just leaving it as this kind of main one. Okay, so this first bit here, you're going to see down the bottom, you have monthly planner, you have calorie target worksheet. I'll go over the calorie target worksheet in a second. Monthly planner, this is the main kind of the first thing that we want to use. This is just going to help us plan the month of December really, okay? So you can see here in red, important note, don't change any of the cells with a green background. I want you to change the ones with a white background, okay? So that's pretty much all the ones under priorities here, and then all the kind of 5 or so tabs under each day of the month. Okay, so to use this monthly planner, you need to fill in your priorities list on the left. This is pretty much just a task list. Fill in the important tasks for the month that you need to do over December. Be sure to include normal weekly tasks in here as well, so you don't forget them. So simple things that you'll do on a weekly basis. Think across your whole week, what will you do? You'll prep food, you'll cook meals, you'll go to work, you'll have travel to and fro after work, and bits and bobs that you need to go do throughout the week that you probably have a routine and schedule that you're doing at the moment. Okay, so have those things in there because you could very easily forget to do those over the Christmas period with like 110 tasks to do. So make sure that kind of basic stuff is in there because that'll have a knock-on effect into your preparation for the month and everything like that. Okay, obviously then more kind of like once-off things like nights out, events and stuff like that come up in their turn during the Christmas period. Make sure they're in there too. Take any sort of important due dates or anything like that you're going to take note of as well. Okay, so on the right hand side you'll see a breakdown of Monday through to Sunday. Along with the actual dates of the month. It's starting on the 25th. I'm hopefully going to have this out to you before then. You need to transfer over any sort of due dates or any sort of tasks from that priority list, just so that you can get an idea here of where your time, like where you're busy and where you have lots of time to actually kind of make up for things in a way. Okay, so let's say for example I think of my priorities, it's the basic things of like meal prep or something like that I might do, or training sessions on Monday, Wednesday and Friday. I need to make sure that I kind of like transfer these over into the relevant places to just kind of get a lay of the land of like how my week kind of looks. I can then obviously include sort of like more important details, like my work at nights out and stuff like that. So we've got dinner on, the 6th of December. I can click that in there, make sure that I take the date so that when I'm filling this guy out, I know what to kind of transfer over. So, go through your 1,000,001 tasks that you need to do over the Christmas period, cover them all from here. Make sure you just sit down and list them out, bam, 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 and then you'll fill in this guy to the right. Okay, so here you have the chance to actually fill in your kind of month and how it looks each day. Just make sure that you do enter in kind of those due dates in a sense, because you might find that, let's say for example, you're busy, you've got your dinner here, you've got another one on like the Monday or whatever it is, in a sense that, okay, you've got two kind of close together. You don't have another one then until like the 19th or something like that. So some basic things like shopping might need to get done between then. anything that you can really think of. If you're super, super busy, this is going to be so handy for you because you'll be able to see, okay, where is my time actually free? So many of us think just like a million tasks on the list. You get a bit overwhelmed when you suddenly realize, okay, I don't actually need to get those done by, a certain date. So other like non-essential or things that don't have a due date, you can get those done in the kind of in-between spaces, or you suddenly realize that something that you thought was going to take like 3 hours only ends up taking like 20 minutes, right? So simple thing there, okay? Now, this is going to be fairly handy when we take into consideration our calorie target worksheet. So let's say, for example, you've done all your monthly planner, you've planned out your dates, and you go, okay, you've got a lot of dinners, a lot of nights out where we all kind of have a bit of panic and anxiety about, weight gain or like seeing a sort of weight piled on over the Christmas and the holiday period, because you have so many events close together that you just kind of go, sure, look, just don't worry about it, it'll be fine. All right, so we obviously don't want to go into that kind of like unprepared in a way. What we want to do is we want to see, okay, if I take a little bit of time at the start of the month, if I kind of plan things out, I'll know what the lay of the land is. And then from there, you'll be able to kind of say, okay, how many calories you're going to be consuming on those days. You'll see from here, I'm just going to X these out for a second. You'll see why. And how to best balance that across the week so that you don't actually gain any weight, okay? So let's say, for example, here you can see this calorie target worksheet. Important thing, do not change any of the green cells. Like I was saying last time, only the white cells. So you can see from here, these 5 or 6 that I'm clicking through now, this bottom one here under desired rate of weekly change. And then these white ones here just across the kind of end of the table, okay? So what you're going to suss out from here pretty much is what's your body weight at this moment in time. You can see I've filled it in for myself, 75 kg. My height is about 175 centimeters. Just convert across whenever you need to, from pounds and feet if you need to, age, gender, and then physical activity level. So this is the one thing you're going to have to kind of determine yourself. What you're doing here is you're just getting a guesstimate of what your physical activity level is like and what effect it's going to have on your overall calories. So someone who's fairly sedentary, I'm going to get you to write in like a 1.2. Hopefully none of us are really going to be sedentary over this Christmas period. We're still training, we're still doing something. Activity in some way is still the same or possibly even increased over the Christmas period. That's a handy way of kind of like taking into account the fact that you're going to be taking in more calories, you're doing more activity. Lightly active, 1.3. This is 1 to 3 days of activity a week. Not a massive amount compared to what would be considered like the very active or extra active, where you can see here very active 6 to 7 days a week of training, or even extra active, sometimes even training twice a day. Okay, a few of us very few of us, are probably going to be under this very hard exercise. I mean, I probably don't even fall under that. I mean, I have a very physical job in a sense. I'm always on my feet. So I'd argue I'm around a 1.7. So that's where I'm going to put my activity levels, like, 5-6 days in the gym, and then I'm walking a lot of the time, and then I'm physically active. So we'll put it as a 1.7 for me. You might be whatever it is, 1.5, 1.3. You can do in-betweeny ones as well if you want to, of 1.4 and 1.6. I just don't have them listed, obviously. And if you're considering weight loss to be your target, I just recommend going one kind of like slightly below what you think it is. If you think that you're 1.7, just go 1.6, just for the argument's sake of knowing that then you're going to be fine when it comes to the overall calories. You're kind of, you have a little bit left in the bank in a way. Okay, so what I want to assess from here, so this is going to spit out a load of calculations. Don't worry about this projected metabolic adaptation for the moment. I'll kind of explain this in more detail when we do this in the new year and everything like that, what this will affect in terms of the sheet itself. Probably not needed for the moment. Only needed really when we're using this kind of long term. Estimated BMR, the Harris-Benedict equation there. It's just an equation that's going to estimate what is called your basal metabolic rate. So this is how many calories your body needs to you need to consume in a day to just kind of remain at baseline. Now, this is taking into consideration pretty much no activity. This is literally laying down in a bed and doing absolutely nothing. So at the moment, I'm kind of around like 1,800 calories, like very, very little in a way, because it's not taking into account the fact that I'm up, moving, and everything like that. So then you'll see the one below it. So my estimated total daily energy expenditure without exercise and with metabolic adaptation. Don't mind this part, as I said, we're not really worrying about it just yet, but without exercise. So it's just saying, okay, this is based off kind of like the activity level that I've put in here, It means, when it says without exercise, it means added exercise, that I'll get to in a second, okay? So my desired rate of weekly change, another important thing that I want you to enter in. I want you to think whether or not you want to lose weight, gain weight over this Christmas period. If I think of losing weight, I just want to make sure that it's a minus. You can see here minus 0.5, or I can hit it to 0 where I just want to maintain, or I can even set it to 0.5 where I actually want to gain weight over this Christmas period. So if we're trying to add some muscle, it'd be a case where we actually want to see a rate of weight change above what's being predicted there. So if I go back to minus 0.5, this is me wanting to lose weight. You can see from here, it's going to change my numbers and it's going to spit me out with 2,529 calories. So this is daily calorie target without exercise once again, but taking into account that I want to try and lose weight, okay? So now, from here, it's given me that number. This is what I need to hit kind of on a daily basis in terms of my calorie target. Now, if I'm using something like MyFitnessPal, this should come as no surprise to you that you want to hit like a certain amount of calories per day, and you want to try and keep that consistent across your week. Not even taking into account like your macronutrients, your carbs, your fats, your proteins, and stuff like that. We're just seeing the basic calorie number, because with a calorie deficit where we consume less calories than we expend, we will see a rate loss of weight, okay? Now, here's the thing of estimated training or additional energy expenditure. So we've already taken into account how active we think we are already. This will be activity kind of outside the norm. So let's say, for example, we considered ourselves X amount active. If we are suddenly just active on like on a Sunday and a Thursday a bit more than we expect to be, this is a number that we're going to add in here. Now, this is it's very hard to estimate in terms of your actual how much you might burn during a training session. I know for a lot of people, we hear the whole thing of like you might be burning 1,000 calories in a session, or something is marketed to you as burning 1,000 calories in a session. Probably very unlikely that you're going to be burning that amount of calories. So really go on the low side of what you think would be like a good exercise session. Like if I was thinking of a weight session or like something like a run or something like that, I might guesstimate at like 200 or 300 calories. I wouldn't go crazy and think that I'm burning close to 600, 700, 800 calories. I might, but until we know a person's body weight, their muscle mass, previous exercise levels, all of these different things, we can't really get a good idea of what that number really is. It's very hard to predict in a sense, okay? So if you want to have a go at it and just say an extra 100 or 200 in a day, you can add that in and say, okay, I did an extra bit of work on the Monday, so that's going to change about my calories from here, okay? It's going to give me that extra kind of 100 calories of a surplus to kind of get extra food in, okay? But for most of us over the Christmas period, that's probably not going to be an issue of the issue really is down to kind of, we want to make sure that we're not gaining too much weight. So what we can use here is this additional day-specific adjustment for food intake. So let's say, for example, I go back to my monthly planner. I see that on the 6th, I've got my dinner. I would probably assume on the Friday, if that was like a work event over Christmas, that I'm probably going to consume a little bit more calories than I typically would on a day like that. So it's only going to be the one sitting in a sense. So if I say, for example, I've just gone overboard by 1,500, maybe even 2,000 calories on that day, which would probably happen between the 3-course meal that you're going to have, the wine and beer or alcohol that you're going to have over that period, you're probably consuming a ton of calories on that day outside of the norm, okay? It's an accumulation of those kind of days, not taken into consideration or not adjusting calories further, that you're going to see like weight gain in a sense. But if we use this little calculation here, this little graph, if I take into account that on, what day was it? We said Friday. So Friday, I look ahead to the week. I'm planning this on my Monday, and I say, okay, Friday, I'm going to be burning an extra 1,000, or I'm going to be consuming an extra 1,500 calories. That will then change my calorie target. You'll see up here if I scroll for the other days across the week. So it's taken into consideration on that Friday. I've consumed a ton of calories, and it's dropped my net calories across the week. It was 2,529 across the board. It's now a much even figure across the board, considering that that's going to be my change on the Friday, okay? Let's say, for example, I have 2 of them in the week. I have Tuesday and I have another day where I'm consuming a ton of calories. But I know myself, okay, Friday's probably the bigger event. I'm going to strip it back a little bit and maybe not consume as much alcohol, or maybe I'm not going to go as crazy on food, and I'm still going to keep things controlled in some way. Keep that in the back of your head, where if you've got 3 or 4 of them in a row, don't be silly and just kind of think, oh, grand, 3, 4 will be fine. I have this calorie worksheet and I can adjust back. Like, do still look to control in some way. But let's say, for example, on that day, I cut it back a little bit and I say 1,000 calories. Well, it's made another change then to my calories for the day, and I see a little adjustment from here where I've got about 2,000 calories on the Sunday, Monday. Tuesday, as I said, I know in that I'm going to be getting out, so Wednesday, Thursday kind of goes back to normal, and then Friday, another bigger event. All right. Now, this is a good way to just kind of spread things across the week and not feel as if you're just going to inevitably sort of gain weight over the Christmas period. This will help you if you're already using something like MyFitnessPal. This should really help. You'll be used to kind of entering these numbers already, and you'll be able to just adjust your daily targets and stuff like that based off this calorie number. So you'll do this on like a Sunday or something like that. You'll open up this diary. You'll plan out those kind of dates that you've already planned from your monthly planner. You'll be able to transfer them over and say, okay, cool. I can adjust on these days, and then just enter that in as your target for MyFitnessPal on the day. Always have it kind of handy so that you can review it kind of daily, weekly, easy enough. Okay, so if you have any questions, of course, please get back to me. I know this can be a little bit confusing. Rewatch the video if you need to, or just pause and just kind of as you're running through it and editing it yourself. Yes, please do get back with any questions. I can explain it in more detail if you need to over email or anything like that. Okay, best of luck with it, folks.